Well, welcome back, folks. This is the second in a short series on restoring the seat for the Suzuki TS50 restoration project. And as you can see, it's done. So this is really just a review. This is not intended, I think I said this in the first episode, this is not intended as a tutorial. I've been through seat restorations, repair a number of times on my channel. But this is just a review of the final product. This cover is a reproduction cover. I believe it's made in the US. I couldn't swear to it. It's a very good quality cover. And in fact, here's the original cover right here. And this one's a little bit faded, of course, and worn. But if you look at the material, the pattern, it is about as close as you're ever going to get in terms of matching of the material itself. So I'm very pleased with the cover. It fit like a glove. And I had no issues with it whatsoever. So I'll turn it around for you here so you can see the Suzuki logo on the back. That is correct. That is what the original had. Here's the opposite side. If you notice this little bit, it's not a crease. It's really the pattern. That's where the foam comes down over the edge of the seat. There's the back side of the pan. The hardware is virtually all original with the exception of the washers and nuts. So these four washers and nuts are brand new Suzuki parts, still available. Again, I could have plated the old ones. I didn't mess with it. I just replaced them. The hinges themselves, these two hinges as well as the hinge pins and the split pins, or I should back up. The hinges themselves are original along with the pins. The split pins are new Suzuki items, but the hinges themselves are original. I stripped them using acid and I re-zinc plated them myself here in my shop, both the pins and the hinges themselves. The rubber pads here, and these two up here are originals. I cleaned them really well and then I soaked them in my miracle goo that reconditions vinyl. And as you can see there, they look like they're brand new, and they popped right back in with a little easing with dielectric grease on the Christmas trees. They pushed through the pins on the back side. The foam was all original. I didn't have to do anything with the foam except for clean it up. It fit really well. I was thinking initially I might have to use a thin piece of foam like on the pan itself before I put the foam back, but I didn't need to. Sometimes this foam gets a little compressed over time, but I did not need to do that. And again, it went together really well. None of the capture pins on the back, I say capture pins, I'm talking about these little bend over clamps, as you can see here, all the way around the parameter. They all are intact. I didn't have any issues with any of those in terms of breaking off. Sometimes if they get rusty, they will break off, but again, no issues with that at all. Powder coating, of course, I did myself in my oven. I've talked about that many, many times. I did not video record any of those steps or processes. This seat cover came with a set of instructions, as you can see there. I didn't really need these. It's always helpful to read through these if you've never done a recovery before, or restoration. The instructions as provided here weren't really the right steps, I would say, for this type of seat pan, this metal pan, this more traditional, older style. These are really written, I think, reading through them, from more of a plastic-based pan or plastic-based seat, and requires some heating and stretching and that kind of thing. So even though it's helpful to read through these, it wasn't necessary for this seat, I didn't find. The cover also came with this strap, which is, of course, sometimes used over the seat, something like that. This seat did not originally have a buddy strap. Sometimes I call those buddy straps, or a hand strap. This seat did not have that originally, at least to my knowledge that I'm aware of. I've never seen one used in any of the photos I've ever looked at, nor did the original seat have one of those straps. So this isn't used, of course, in this application. It's just not necessary. This seat restoration went about as easy as they possibly could. The foam required very little work outside of cleaning up and getting some of the debris off of it. the back side where it sits on the pan, and it gets a little surface rust. The cover fit really well, as we just talked about. The pan was in good condition to begin with. The hardware was in good condition, outside of having to replate the hinges themselves, the bumpers. Everything went about as smooth as you could possibly hope for in a seat restoration such as this. Next steps for the seat is it's going to go in storage, because I will not be mounting the seat for a while. The latch that latches onto the seat, pins go on, of course, one side, and then on the opposite side right here, I'm pointing to with my left index finger, is where the seat latch that mounts on the frame will clip into this section right here, this middle section. I have not put that back on the bike yet. It's ready to go. I just have to assemble it on the bike. The seat itself won't go on the bike for a while. A couple of reasons. One, it's vulnerable, being exposed to working around the bike. If I drop a tool, drop a knife, something happens, I don't want to damage the seat cover, of course. It'll go in storage, and I'll just set it aside. This will be one of the, in fact, probably the very last thing that will go on the bike when it's done, because it has to come off to put the seat, the fuel tank on, or probably will have to come off to put the fuel tank on. I'm not sure yet. Sometimes you get an interference fit here at the front with the fuel tank, but I'm going to leave it off anyway. Put it in storage. Wrap it up in the towel, probably this towel. Just put it in a plastic storage bin. Set it aside for probably going to be a number of months here before I come back to it, and ultimately this will be installed as one of the very last, if not the last thing that will be done before the bike is ridden for the first time. So that's going to be it for this short little video today, folks. Any issues, questions, thoughts, drop me a note. Otherwise, as usual, thanks for watching.